Hello, beloved. My name is Tarani Nicole, and I am a Rose Priestess and a Feminine Embodiment Mentor. And I focus on teaching women how to feel sensually activated and attuned to their womb, their heart, and their crown to live in alignment. Thank you so much for tuning into this video, and be sure to subscribe and like this video if this message resonates with you. Today, I am going to share with you guys my own belief and my own practice in relationship to Tantra and what Tantra means to me. And I know this is a word that kind of moves around the world of spirituality and sensuality quite often, and a lot of times it feels like people are missing the point, focusing too much on sexuality and not enough on the true dynamics of what Tantra is and what it always has been. And so if you're expecting me to sit here and talk about sex and all of those kinds of things, well, you're at the wrong video. So I recommend going and finding somebody else or tuning in and listening to my truth and what Tantra means to me from the feminine perspective, from a deeply rooted and well-studied perspective. So, number one, Tantra relates to a philosophy. More than necessarily a practice, it is actually a principle and a philosophy, more of like a thought system and a lifestyle to align with. So yes, tantric practices are involved in this overall spectrum of Tantra, but first and foremost, Tantra is a philosophy. And the core of this philosophy is recognizing that we are the source, the God, the goddess, the creator of this world, that we are source embodied. And so through that, we are directly connected to source. And the Tantric philosophy teaches us this pathway of recognition of this deep truth that we are unified with the greatest creator of all time. And so when we look at this philosophy of we are God, we are source, we are unity, we are oneness, this drives us to the core of what is that oneness? How does this unfold and unravel in our lived experience? And this does begin with sexual energy, or what I would like to say as life force energy, the pure life force energy that activates our lives and allows us to be born and created through our mother and our father and our lineage and our ancestors. And so Tantra, as the philosophy, teaches us the pathway to harness our life force energy so that we can have recognition, so that we can end concealment, so that we can end illusions of separation between us and God, or whatever you call your higher source. And so with this practice, when it comes into the big picture, when we are practicing Tantra, we are truly practicing the unity with oneness, with consciousness, with God's source. So this principle directly reflects the practices you are doing in Tantra. In Tantra, true traditional tantric practices and rituals relate to how we use our body and the world around us to penetrate our hearts, to remember that we are source embodied. And so typically, tantric practices will include movement. You will be moving your physical body to move the energy of your life force up and through. You'll be using your breath, the prana. The breath is all around us. It is the very gas that allows us to continue to live and be regenerated on this planet. So you're using the movement, you're using the breath, and then you'll also use sound, right? Because these three ingredients are the truth of our existence. It is what God's source embodied us in and gave us the core ingredients to live with so that we can move through existence for God to experience. So the movement, the breath, The sound. These are the tools that we can use to harness our life force, and not only just harness it, but actually purify it. Because sometimes, and oftentimes, we can all agree that our life force energy can get tainted. Our pure magnetic field can get tainted based off of the many variables that all humans are given on any day. This can be our jobs, the food that we eat, the company that we keep, the amount of technology that we're around. All of this impacts our life force energy. And when our life force energy is tainted, we create greater separation between us and source embodied. And so what we want to do is we want to get our energy super crystal clear so that we can be wholly embraced by the divine without any separation or blockage between us and the creator which created us. So that is my philosophy of Tantra and Tantric practices. You know, there's Kundalini Yoga, there's the Temple Priestess Arch, which is what I teach, which is the lineage that I carry. And what we're doing is we're using Tantric philosophy and Tantric practices to move energy and assist us in remembering our sacred truth. So of course, sex is a piece of that, because sex is what we do to create life on Earth within our species, but it's not directly connected to sex. And oftentimes in Tantra, there's very little sex involved. It's about harnessing your sexual energy and circulating your sexual energy to raise your frequency. And so a lot of times if we are engaging in sexual experiences, this is an exchange of that life force energy, which oftentimes leaves us and goes into the other person that we're having a sexual experience with, which doesn't necessarily support us in harnessing our energy unless that person is intentional and we are doing it as an act of service and sacred love. Otherwise, your sexual energy is just leaky and nobody wants that. That is not Tantra. Tantra is the philosophy, Tantra is the practice, Tantra is the ritual that brings us closer to the divine and unfolding our own truth. Alrighty, if you love this video, please share it with somebody who would be, excited and activated by this truth. And please subscribe, because I would love to have you around. Share your thoughts in the comments. Sat Nam, folks. See you on the other side.